They're patriots, they're truth seekers. This time I would like to make a video about the subject of the detoxification of your bodies. For decades, if not centuries, we have been deliberately poisoned by our food chain and drinking water. Through chemtrails, the Satanic elites have been poisoning our air with metals like barium or aluminium that can cause respiratory diseases or even Alzheimer's. Our drinking water has been poisoned with fluoride, so we have less and less resistance and less willpower. We will now read some articles about the poisoning of our food chain and drinking water.
From the German website t-online.de. German beers are contaminated with the herbicide glyphosate. Date of the article is the 8th of December 2017. Glyphosate was detected in all beers tested. Bad news for beer lovers. Residues of the controversial herbicide glyphosate have been detected in several German beers. As early as 2016, the Munich Environmental Institute examined 14 of the most popular beer brands in Germany. In all cases, the testers found what they were looking for. The highest measured value was found for the Hasseröder Pils variety at 29.74 micrograms per liter. The lowest concentration was found for the Augustina Helles brand at 0.46 micrograms of glyphosate per liter. In the most extreme case, the value was 300 times above the legal limit for drinking water. These values were measured in 2016. Augustina Helles at 0.46 micrograms per liter, Franziskaner wheat beer at 0.49 micrograms per liter, Beck's Pils at 0.50 micrograms per liter, and way below, Warsteiner Pils at 20.73 micrograms per liter, and Jever Pils at 23.04 micrograms per liter. The limit value for drinking water was clearly exceeded. By way of comparison, the limit value for drinking water is 0.1 micrograms per liter, which means that even the lowest measured value is still significantly higher. But there are no limit values for beer. For carcinogenic substances, there's generally no lower limit. Even the smallest amounts can be harmful to your health. Their intake should therefore be reduced to as low as possible. Furthermore, you can see in the article that they tested the same beers again in 2017, and apparently there was less glyphosate in the beer. If you want to read the entire article, the link is in the description. From the website howtoeathealthy.com. Detailed list of mineral waters with fluoride content in milligrams per liter. Fluoride is about twice as toxic as arsenic. It has been known since 1854 that fluorine can damage the thyroid gland and lead to goiter formation. In Germany, natural mineral waters contributed more than previously assumed to the absorption of fluoride and thus to the poisoning of the human body. A study by Schulte in 1995 showed that even in children without fluoride supplementation, a high fluoride concentration in the urine could be detected. Anamnestically, it was found that a number of these children regularly drank mineral water with a relatively high fluoride content. Fluoride weakens the will and puts the person in a kind of misty state of mind. The actual perception is prevented by the poisoning of the pineal gland. Here's a very long list of mineral waters that you can buy in Germany with their fluoride content. As you can see, the list is very long. If you want to have a closer look at the list, the link is in the description. Here's another very long list of mineral waters in Germany with their fluoride content in milligrams per liter. From the German website kinderärztetüttingen.com. The list is from 2017. If you type as an example the name Gerolsteiner, a very known brand in Germany, you get 0.15 milligrams per liter fluoride. If you want to check out the entire list, the link is in the description. From the website infranken.de. Ecotest. Still mineral water, a clamp for Volvic and Evian. Ecotest has put 100 types of still mineral waters under the microscope. Many products are therefore recommendable, however, some products also contain questionable ingredients. Two of the most popular brands fail mercilessly. Note insufficient. It is particularly annoying that the two branded products are also supposed to be suitable for preparation for baby food. A recent report in the magazine Ecotest reveals that some products cannot be recommended. Of all brands, two of the most popular ones fail mercilessly. Also in the test of the most popular medium mineral water, some products were contaminated. But first the good news, among the 100 still mineral waters tested, 63% scored very good or good. Accordingly, the selection of uncontaminated products is large. Among the winners of the test are the Black Forest Still, the Still Water Biocrystal Still from Neumarkter Lamsbräu, and the inexpensive Minot Naturel. You will find more test winners in the selection at the end of the article. Numerous questionable ingredients found in still mineral waters. According to the law, mineral water must come from an underground water source protected from contamination and be of original purity. For this reason, consumers also expect high quality. In addition, many manufacturers of still mineral waters advertise that their products is also suitable for the preparation of baby food. But some mineral waters contain many questionable ingredients. The following substances cause 5 still waters to fail: degradation products of pesticides, sweeteners, nitrates, vanadium, uranium, and boron. Evian and Volvic fail with grade 6 insufficient. But much more annoying is the contamination of drinking water with uranium. The internationally known still water Evian from Danone Waters exceeded the limit for uranium. The chemical element can change kidneys and lungs and accumulate in the human body. Danone Waters advertises that Evian is suitable for the preparation of baby food. The waters aren't acutely dangerous for babies. However, we advise against using the water in the long term for the preparation of baby food, says the report of Ecotest. Volvic, another well-known product from Danone Waters, also failed the test because it is contaminated with vanadium. Vanadium, an element found in volcanic stone, is suspected of being carcinogenic and damaging to germ cells. Nevertheless, there is no limit value for vanadium in water. As a precaution, Ecotest therefore advises against drinking the water. In addition to vanadium, Volvic also contains relatively high levels of nitrates. If you want to read the entire article, the link is in the description. So here we have Gerolsteiner Sprudel. It says here, hydrogen carbonate, calcium, sodium, magnesium, chloride, sulfite and potassium, but there is no fluoride in it. Here's a mineral water comparison from 2020, the top best mineral waters in comparison. Among the top 10 is Gerolsteiner Medium with the grade very good. And here at the bottom you see fluoride among the additives. 0.27 mg fluoride per liter in Rhodius mineral water and 0.4 mg per liter for Gerolsteiner. Practically all mineral waters here have fluoride. Voss still mineral water has the least fluoride in it with 0.1 mg. And from another source online, we can see that Gerolsteiner water has 0.21 mg of fluoride per liter. Here we have Vitrix mineral water with hydrogen carbonate, calcium, magnesium, chloride, sodium, sulfate, and potassium. Apparently it has no fluoride in it, but it is contaminated with uranium. As we can see here, the Vitrix Sevat source has 0.25 micrograms uranium per liter. Here we have a bottle of Lichtenauer Mineralquelle with sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, chloride, sulfate, and hydrogen carbonate. These values are confirmed by constant control examinations, they state here. But if you look online at the website pediatricianstüttling.de, when measuring the Lichtenauer mineral springs Niederlichtenau, then you can see here 0.15 mg fluoride per liter. And at the uranium list, Lichtenauer Mineralquelle has 0.16 micrograms uranium particles per liter. Here we have a natural mineral water from Gut und Günstig, awarded the Golden Prize DLG in 2019, but it is written here that it contains sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, chloride, and fluoride at 0.12 mg per liter, and hydrogen carbonate at 186 mg per liter. The water comes from the Baruta Johannes fountain, and if we look here at foodwatch.org, it is uranium contaminated water. The Baruta Johannes well has below 0.2 micrograms uranium per liter, so very little but still uranium contaminated. Aluminum in tap water. Aluminum in water can cause various complaints and diseases, including Alzheimer's disease. The limit value in Germany for aluminum in tap water is 0.02 milligrams per liter. Ammonium in tap water. The limit value for ammonium in drinking water in Germany is 0.5 milligrams per liter. Arsenic in tap water. So here the water was also examined and arsenic was found. The limit value here is 0.5 micrograms per liter. Asbestos in tap water. A high percentage of drinking water pipes are made of asbestos fiber cement. Only since 1995, new drinking water pipes are not allowed to contain any additives from asbestos. Because of this, tap water contains freely dissolved asbestos fibers in an order of magnitude of up to 1.57 million fibers per liter. So we also have asbestos in tap water. Barium in tap water. The limit value here is 1 milligram per liter. Bacteria in tap water. So tap water can be contaminated with E. coli and Salmonella. Benzene in tap water. The limit value for benzene in tap water is 10 micrograms per liter. Lead in tap water. Since December 1st, 2013, the limit value for lead in drinking water has been 10 micrograms per liter. The limit value for lead has been gradually reduced over 15 years from 45 micrograms per liter to the current value. So lead is also in tap water. Beryllium is in tap water. Beryllium in drinking water is considered toxic according to the European Drinking Water Directive. The limit value here is 0.2 micrograms per liter. Dioxins are in tap water. And also mercury. The limit value of mercury in tap water is 0.001 milligrams per liter. And we also have pesticides in tap water. On YouTube you can watch videos that show you how badly our tap water is actually polluted. Here, an electrolytic reaction breaks down water in its constituent parts, and here you can see that the tap water is very dirty. Here they also say what an osmosis filter or distillation apparatus takes out of the tap water. Nitrates, chlorine, lime, and heavy metals like lead and copper. Radioactive materials like uranium, radium, tritium, and thorium, drug residues, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, pathogens. It is actually incredible how many toxins is in our tap water.
So once again for repetition, our air is poisoned with chemtrails containing barium, aluminum, and other toxins. Our tap water is poisoned with fluoride, lead, and mercury, and many other toxic substances. Even our mineral water that you can buy every day is poisoned with uranium particles, at least in Germany. Our drinks like beer are contaminated with the highly toxic glyphosate. The meat we buy all the time is full of antibiotics and growth hormones. Our vegetables and fruits that we buy every day are full of herbicides and insecticides. As I said before, we are poisoned from all sides. We can only try to reduce our intakes of toxins by eating organic food and drinking clean water. At the same time, we can also detoxify our bodies. Now we will look at some articles online on how to detoxify your body.
From the website centrumdergesundheit.de, Soda, AIDS in the Household. Author Karina Rehberg. Updated the 1st of September 2020. Everyone knows soda, namely as a baking agent for cakes, pastries, and sometimes also for bread. Very few people know that baking soda can also be a valuable aid in the household or even an effective remedy. Here it is recommended to use only pure baking soda without additives. It can be bought on Amazon. Baking soda works against acidity. Sodium hydrogen carbonate, hereinafter referred to as sodium bicarbonate for simplicity's sake, it is a naturally occurring substance. It was discovered around 1840, first only in bakeries, but then already in the early 20th century it was frequently used in private households for cakes and bread. Soon the purifying properties of sodium were observed and its ability to make flu, colds, and chronic illnesses disappear quickly, which has a very simple explanation. Sodium bicarbonate has a high pH value, so it is basic. People who suffer from poor health and are prone to all kinds of illnesses are usually overacidified. An example, the pH values of their tissues are rather low. If they take alkaline baking soda, the excess acids can be neutralized and the body's pH values rises again. The possible uses of sodium bicarbonate. Finally, more and more applications were found for the cheap but extremely useful powder. For influenza and cold, it helped people if they mixed half a teaspoon to a whole teaspoon with water and drank the solution several times a day for a few days. Sodium bicarbonate used in a foot bath revived aching or tired feet. 50 to 100 grams of baking soda as an additive in a full bath had a rejuvenating effect on your body. So you can drink baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of distilled water, and you can cleanse your stomach and make your body more basic. Also, taking hot baths with baking soda can help to purify your body. In the rest of the article, you can read how baking soda can help with killing cancer cells. So baking soda also helps against cancer. If you want to read the entire article, the link is in the description. From the website messerschmittmühlen.de. Drinking distilled water, fountain of youth or poison? ? Anyone who drinks distilled water can die from it. Whether we heard from it from our parents or from one of our teachers, the deadly effect of this liquid has been burned into our brains. In fact, it is probably one of the best preserved myths of everyday life. However, people who are concerned with a healthy diet and the effects on their bodies have long since recognized the benefits of distilled water for themselves. So what really happens to our body when we drink distilled water? First of all, distilled water is nothing more than tap water or drinking water, which is almost free of any harmful substances such as lead, uranium, or pesticides, but also of minerals and nutrients due to the process of distillation. In the process, the water is first heated in an evaporator and the gas is collected before it liquefies again in a condenser. The previously contained ingredients remain at the bottom and more or less pure water is obtained. This process can be repeated as often as desired, but even a simple distillation fulfills most of its purpose. Only a few volatile substances such as chlorine or benzene remain in the water. In nature too, natural distillation takes place constantly as water evaporates and condenses in the air before it falls back to the earth in form of rain. However, due to the absorption of various substances from the air, rainwater is no longer pure water when it reaches us. In earlier times, when the air was much less negatively affected by human hands, rainwater came closer to actual distilled water and was thus drunk as surface water by our ancestors, a first indication of the compatibility of this form of water. Today, distilled water is more familiar to us because of its use in chemistry and pharmacy, or in private households for refilling car batteries and for the steam iron. But as a thirst quencher or even as a healthier alternative to mineral water, that sounds strange. True present are the horror stories that we have been told to us since childhood and the first chemistry construction kit, so it's time to clean up with a fairy tale of everyday life. Who drinks distilled water can die? ? The myth that drinking even small amounts of distilled water can cause a person's cell to burst and he or she can die as a result. More and more liquid enters the cell through the semi-permeable cell membrane, which is permeable only to water but not to larger particles such as sugar or salt, until its shell can no longer withstand the pressure and bursts. The reason for this is the effort to keep the concentration of sodium and potassium in balance inside and outside the cells. Since distilled water itself does not contain any ions, it also lowers the concentration inside the cell by flowing in until the cell bursts due to the amount of water. This process exists, but is not triggered by a normal consumption of distilled water. A healthy person with functioning kidneys has to drink about 17 liters of it without taking any form of electrolytes in between, that it becomes really threatening for the body, says Michael from the Berlin Charité. This so-called water poisoning can, however, also occur with ordinary drinking water and is mainly due to an excessive dilution of the blood and pre-existing salt deficiency in the body. From 7 liters of water, no matter what kind, in a shorter time such a hyperhydration can occur. If the body receives too much water in a very short period of time, the excess water is released to the surrounding tissue cells, so that organ and brain damage can occur, and cells actually burst due to the osmosis regulation described above. However, this has nothing to do with the dangerous properties of distilled water per se. As Hans Oberleitner, professor at the Institute of Physiology at the University of Münster, states, even if, as he believes many of his medical students initially assume this, distilled water only becomes life-threatening when it enters the bloodstream as a direct infusion. This accelerates the osmosis process to such an extent that red blood cells can indeed burst. That is the reason why in medicine, saline solutions, which have a similar concentration to blood, are used to dilute it and not water. What happens in our body when we drink distilled water? A somewhat theoretical answer to the question raised in the headline is a simple nothing. Theoretically, distilled water, since it does not contain any nutrients and minerals itself, would permanently deprive the body of potassium and sodium. For example, drinking distilled water alone does not deprive the body of essential substances. In addition, distilled water as such does not remain in our metabolic system for long. It is previously enriched by the stomach acid and other nutrients. Distilled water is already largely remineralized, again in the stomach and upper small intestine, explains a staff member of the Institute of Physiology at the Medical University in Vienna. As a result, no cells are damaged and it's hardly different from normal drinking water for the organism. Only in the case of heavy sporting activity, during which our body loses many important minerals, is it advisable to drink mineral water, as it provides us with the necessary salts and minerals. Electrolyte drinks or alcohol-free beer can also guarantee an adequate supply. In case of high exercise, too much distilled water can actually be dangerous, as it does not contain any minerals and electrolytes and thus only dilutes the blood. Dizziness, nausea and even more thirst can be the result, which will bring the body into a small vicious circle. Apart from that, however, distilled water can be used without any problem. Distilled water is free of pollutants and cleans the body. Now we have heard why it is safe to drink distilled water in almost all cases. But why would you want to do that at all? Which positive effects on our health speak for the regular drinking of distilled water? Many people attach great importance to their health, and a balanced diet have already discovered this pure form of water for themselves and integrated it into their everyday life. Due to its absolute purity for distillation, distilled water contains almost no harmful substances that can burden the body. Viruses and bacteria are killed by heating. Other residues and organic compounds remain, depending on the form of treatment in the distiller or behind the membrane of the osmosis plant. Even traces of uranium can be removed in this way. It has been scientifically proven that the rate of illness of people decreases significantly when they drink pure water. Considering that humans consist of about 2/3 of water, it is hardly surprising that water quality plays a major role in our diet. In addition to regulating body temperature, water has two main functions in the human body: the transport of nutrients to the individual cells and organs, and the removal of waste products. It is therefore primarily a means of transport and a solvent. It is precisely these properties that can be fulfilled by distilled water than by normal water. If water is excessively saturated with minerals, it can no longer meet its solvency to the extent that it will be ideal for the body. The fewer minerals the water contains, the lower its conductivity, and the higher the chance of flushing out toxins, waste products, and acids. Distilled water can be better processed by our body and can better fulfill its detoxification task without burdening our body with other substances such as lead, nitrates, or pesticides. But isn't water the best controlled food in Germany anyway? That may be true. The responsible Federal Environment Agency regularly takes samples of overall tap water, and overall tap water performs quite well. It is usually free of pathogens, and the limits for chemical substances are rarely exceeded. Nevertheless, caution is required for one thing. There are no limits for many substances, including drug residues, which means that the water simply does not have to be tested for these substances by law. On the other hand, the checks are usually carried out on the waterworks, but a lot can happen on the way to the apartments. Old pipes, especially lead pipes, can release toxic substances into the water. Kettles and boilers are also potential sources of pollutants. For mineral water from the supermarket, the imposed controls are strangely enough even lower than tap water, and the allowed limits are higher. In addition, harmful plasticizers are present in water from plastic bottles, so there are many reasons for drinking distilled water. But isn't my body missing the important minerals from mineral water? The question can be answered in the negative. However, you should keep an eye on your diet. Since distilled water contains almost no minerals, you have to drink it in a different way. But if you otherwise eat a healthy diet, you can easily cover your needs with whole grain products, nuts and fruit and vegetables. Distilled water can thus serve for better regeneration and helps detoxify the body when it is consumed consciously. In Southeast Asia, the positive effect of distilled water on health has been known for quite some time. Therefore, you can buy it in supermarkets as premium water. Distilled water is not only good for your health. Besides the positive effects on the body, distilled water has other advantages. The water is much softer and tastier than normal drinking water and is therefore ideal for making tea or coffee. With the wrong water and the wrong preparation, even the most expensive and best coffee can disappoint in taste. Moreover, the pure water does not calcify the kettle and coffee machine. Who still isn't convinced, it should be said that distilled water with its own production in the long run is more favorable than water from the supermarket and saves in addition some dragging. Last but not least, it's also good for the environment if you drink distilled water because you can do without plastic bottles. Distilled water can be consumed in the same quantities as other drinking water, provided that one's diet is taken into account. This means that everyone should consume at least 1.5 liters of liquid per day, and adults should even drink about 3 liters during sport activities on a hot day. However, if you do a lot of sports and sweat a lot in one day, you should perhaps choose a mixture of mineral water and distilled water. Caution: when shopping, distilled water is not the same as distilled water. But which distilled water should I drink? Can I just drive to the nearest hardware store, get a 5-liter canister, and ignore the warning not for consumption, since I know now how healthy distilled water is? Absolutely not. In industry, even chemically dematerialized water may be called distilled water. Here the ions were only chemically bounded, but can contain other substances, which you should even taste if in doubt. But this is not recommended. This form of water can then actually be used for the actual applications in car batteries and irons, but certainly not for drinking. When buying it, you should therefore make sure that it is pure water. However, the better option is to make it yourself anyway. Even though distillation is a simple process, one should refrain from experimenting with pots and kettles, and these are themselves sources of pollutants. It makes more sense to buy a distiller. Usually there are two types of distillators. Our steam distillator runs on the electricity, but also uses a lot of it, so that a normal family can quickly reach the 3-figure cost range for 1 year. The yield is relatively low and the cleaning effort is high. The clearly better and in the long run also cheaper variant is a reverse osmosis plant. The osmosis plants have a membrane copied from nature, which can only be passed by small water molecules, but not by salts and other substances. This means that much more than just lime is removed from the water, as with ordinary filters. Reasonable plants of this kind are available from about $300. Since experts recommend mineral-rich water for optimal health, it can also be mineralized afterwards. Throw the myth overboard and give pure water a chance. At the end, a small overview of the arguments for drinking distilled water shall be given. It contains no harmful substances. Distilled water helps the body to detoxify better. It has a better solving power. Its taste is clearly softer. Consumption is more environmentally friendly. Kitchen appliances are not calcified. Nobody's asking you to change your drinking habits overnight. Perhaps you can start drinking tea or coffee with distilled water. Coffee with distilled water tastes way softer and nicer than with regular tap water. Just try it out and you will be surprised. If you want to read the entire article, the link is in the description. Another way to detoxify your body is MMS or chlor dioxide. Chlor dioxide has been used for decades to treat drinking water. Jim Humble was the first to use it to purify his own body. It is recommended to dissolve 2 to 3 drops of chlor dioxide in 100 milliliters of water and drink it slowly, and the body is cleansed of toxins, viruses, and bacteria. This should be done once or up to 3 times a day for a week as a cure. I have tried it myself several times and felt cleaner and purer after each time. If you want to read the story of Jim Humble, the links are in the description. You can buy the MMS or chlor dioxide solution online. The link is in the description. Turmeric Superfood, your independent guide. Detoxification with turmeric according to Ayurveda. Turmeric has been used in Ayurvedic teachings for thousands of years, among other things to detoxify the body in detox cures. The yellow root is used in detoxification cures of the entire digestive tract, for the stomach, liver and gallbladder, kidneys and intestines. According to the latest research, turmeric can reduce the fluoride load and prevent new accumulation in the body. Detoxification begins in the stomach. By stimulating the production of gastric juice, turmeric is an effective prevention and also a remedy against fungi, viruses, bacteria and parasites. Turmeric, a bitter, toxin-eliminating drug with more than 3.5% in essential oils, has antiseptic and antibacterial effects. Digestion and intestinal cleansing with turmeric. Turmeric develops its antibacterial effect in the intestine. It prevents excessive growth of pathogenic germs and the inflammatory processes that go with it. By stimulating and accelerating digestion, turmeric shortens the retention time of harmful substances and prevents the storage of toxins, heavy metals and germs. Brains and nerves. Fluorides have a nerve-damaging effect and have a negative impact on the brain and memory performance. Unfortunately, fluorides constantly enter the human body through fertilizer, water and toothpaste and accumulate there. Hair turmeric is an effective means of elimination. Turmeric or curcumin can both neutralize existing fluoride and protect the body against unwanted fluoride intake. In addition, there are many studies that have investigated the positive effect in the treatment of Alzheimer's patients. So turmeric is a very good way to detoxify the body. Detoxification cure with lemons from the betterhealthylife.de website. This detoxification cure of lemons was developed by Stanley Burroughs to heal stomach ulcers. In his book, The Master Cleanser, Burroughs reports about the experience of one of his patients after 3 years of suffering from a stomach ulcer. After 11 days of this lemon detoxification treatment, to the surprise of the doctors, the patient was completely cured. Since then, many similar cases have been observed, with best results within 10 to 11 days. How does the lemon detox work? The lemon detoxification cure helps the organism to eliminate harmful substances which are caused by poor nutrition, environmental toxins, negative attitude, a sedentary lifestyle, among others. So you can make your own lemonade with lemons, distilled water, and xylitol, and then you can detoxify yourself regularly. There are several websites that report about the lemon's healing and cleansing properties and provide recipes so that you can make it yourself quickly. That is from website centrumdergesundheit.de, lemon juice, detoxifies, purifies, and heals. Here they give a lemon lemonade recipe. Also on the same website, like peppermint detox cocktail, or a watermelon cucumber detox smoothie, or a freshly made lemonade to detoxify your body, or a cold ginger drink to detoxify yourself. If you want to read the entire article, the link is in the description. Another product to detoxify your body from metals and other toxins is Zeolite Med Detox Powder. It contains Vulcan minerals and has the property of binding many toxins and removing them from your body through the digestive system. Zeolite releases the liver by detoxifying the intestinal tract by binding mercury, lead, cadmium, aluminum, ammonium, and histamine. Zeolite can be used on a daily basis by your entire family. I personally took 1 or 2 teaspoons of zeolite in my yogurt with fruits and xylitol. If you want to order the product, the link is in the description. Another way to detoxify your body is by taking sodium bicarbonate and magnesium baths. These 5 kilograms of baking soda can be ordered on Amazon. You put 2 handfuls in your bath. Next, magnesium chloride. You can also buy this on Amazon. Also put 1 handful in your bath. Then stay in the bath for 30 to 45 minutes. This helps a lot to detoxify your body and make it more basic.
I personally have often detoxified my body using baking soda. 1 teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of water and by drinking this slowly. Or I detoxified my body by using MMS and drinking homemade lemonade. I take a baking soda magnesium bath every week and stay in there for 30 minutes to help get all the toxins out of my body. You can also detoxify your body by going to the sauna or by doing sports. But most important is that you drink clean water. My mother, as an example, bought a water distiller and she says that the water never tasted so good. But water distillation costs a lot of electricity, but in the long run, it's still cheaper than buying bottles all the time. For a larger family, it's better to buy an osmosis water filter. We will now look at some websites about possible water filters.
On Amazon, you can buy a water distiller for €250. It has the capacity to generate 4 liters of distilled water per night. Here they also state that this distiller removes all toxins from the water like pesticides, nitrates, and even radioactive elements like uranium. It also removes all bacteria, virus, and drug residue from the water. If you want to buy the product, the link is in the description. Alternatively, you can buy a double osmosis filter for €330, but it's kind of bulky and it has to be installed by a professional.
So there are many ways to detoxify your body from all the toxins, but it is very difficult to find clean water. Even bottled water can be contaminated. So in essence, it is better to buy a distiller or an osmosis water filter and make your own clean water. And if you can afford it, try to buy organic food. But if you have a little money, you can only detoxify your body using baking soda or homemade lemonade. I hope you found this video informative. Don't forget to rate and subscribe and press the bell button. And if you can make a small donation, the details are in the description. Many greetings from Saxony, Germany, and cheers!